Good morning. How are we? If we're coming in, say hello. Let me know you're in. If you're in live, come in, say hi live. If you're in on replay, let me know if you're in on replay. So, talking about something that came up yesterday in our coffee morning chat, and Q&A, it comes up a lot, and it comes up in general, really, when people talk about stuff that they've tried in the past. You often get this cookie cutter meal plan. Morning, Joss, which looks great on paper, but you can never stick to it. And, it's great to have a meal plan sometimes. And for some people, that's great. But sometimes it's good to know that you can be flexible around it. Good morning, Paula. If you're coming in, say hello. And friends, family, sabotaging comes up a lot. It's such a big topic. And I think sometimes we give it more value than we should. But sometimes it is something that we actually really need to tackle. So I'm going to go over 4 things to help you with this today. And the first one I'm going to talk about is to get the facts first. So when we talk about friends, family sabotaging us, we need to consider what we're defining as sabotaging us. Because if, for example, and this happens a lot, and someone actually said this, 2 people have said this to me over the last 2 weeks, around hot cross buns, okay? I did rubbish. I had a hot cross bun because my other half bought the hot cross buns back. And the reason I'm saying this is when you get the facts, aka your body doesn't discriminate against a seeded wholemeal bun versus a hot cross bun. But in our heads, what do you think? If I say, here's a seeded wholemeal bun, here's a seeded wholemeal bun, what do you think in terms of healthy and nutrition? Whereas if I give you a hot cross bun, what do you think then? You might have different views on food. You might go hot cross bun, shouldn't really have them, it's fattening. Wholemeal seeded bun, it's really healthy, it's good for you. And again, this is really an example where our good intentions are sometimes stolen, and we then beat ourselves up to the nth degree if we do something based on a belief that isn't actually true. Now, just to put this into perspective, a hot cross bun is about 150 calories, maybe 155, and a seeded wholemeal bun is about 199 calories. That's specific, wasn't it? And my point in this is not that one is healthier than the other necessarily, but they can be part of your plan, part of your nutrition plan in the day, as long as you plan for it, and as long as you don't have assumptions around foods which are kind of damaging to our relationship with the food and cause us then to beat ourselves up. Because it might have been that we actually had the hot cross bun, we feel satisfied, and I want you to consider to plan them in, because the psychosocial benefits, sometimes, not all the time, you've got to have that balance. And I talk about that 70-30 balance. You could say 80-20, 90-10, depending on where you're at in your life, what your goal is, how much of a rush you're in to get to that goal. And that's fine, it's your goal. I'm not here to tell you that you should go slower or faster, but you've just got to know it's important to match that with what you're willing to do. Morning, Debbie. So if you then consider a hot cross bun and you go, I've done rubbish now, and that impacts the next choice you make, then you're making it an issue because now you've had it. Now, of course, a wholemeal seeded bun you would think would keep you full up for longer. However, if all you're thinking about is a hot cross bun, and after this video you might be doing, the problem with that is then you might just end up eating everything else but the hot cross bun, then probably ended up eating it anyway. Now, of course, like I said, if you want to really push it and you want to be optimal, then you're going to have to go, okay, I'm going to choose these social events. I'm going to make sure I allow myself to enjoy myself on this day, and this day, so you make a choice. Then that's going to help you a lot in terms of fitting it into your plan. Because when you fit it into your plan, it's a part of your plan, rather than saying, I'm going to be on it today, and if anything goes wrong, I might as well go 0. So we go from 100% to 0%, rather than going, right, I'll aim for 100% maybe. Well, you don't even want to do that really, do you? Let's face it. I'm going to aim for 80%, but then if I go down between 50 and 70 on these days, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because before, guess what? 2 weeks ago, I'd have gone 0%, 20%. So that's just about getting the facts right first and planning them in. You might say, I've got a social event then, I'm going to enjoy that then. It's a bit different though, because there's different ways this question's been asked to me before, is if someone says to you, you're fine the way you are, but then you're not happy. And it's a bit like someone saying, you should be happy the way you are, and you shouldn't want to do anything. You shouldn't, you're fine the way you are. You shouldn't do any more, anything like that. And it's really interesting because if you're not happy the way you are, and someone says you should be happy the way you are, then almost you've got nowhere to go if you believe that thought. Because if you're being told that you should be happy but you're not happy, so if you're not happy but you should be happy, then you're like, well, what do I do then? There's nothing I can do. I'm just stuck being not happy. And the problem with that is then we have nowhere to go. It almost shuts off the creative, that excitement part of our brain that we get at the start of a journey where we're like, yeah, I'm definitely going to achieve this. I'm excited for this. I've got my motivation back, my mojo back. It almost shuts that off because there's no belief. And it's a bit like look how it's changed with like the diabetes. And I know this is a bit of a tangent, but as always, I'm going off on a tangent. The low-calorie diet came out, and even without the low-calorie diet, more and more people, there's more and more cases of people going, yeah, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, lost X amount of weight, or started exercising, did this, and now my blood sugar levels are normal again. And yes, it's still a progressive disease, and over like the longer you live, the more likely you are to get it. Like any disease, like the longer you live, the more likely you are to get a disease. It's just the way it is. But the fact this is a progressive disease used to be almost just used as a balance. There's nothing you can do. And people used to go, well, there's nothing you can do. So, just carry on the way I am. Yeah, there's nothing you can do if you carry on the way you are. But actually, if you change something, what's exciting about that is as evidence builds up, we start to believe that we can change it, then we end up doing more. Our mindset changes, we're more optimistic about it. And already, we're open to new opportunities and trying things that we maybe wouldn't have tried before because it was progressive disease. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because that can dampen down just what we do. If we believe that we should be happy the way we are, and it's okay to be happy with where you are, but still want to progress. And that's an opportunity just to have a conversation with someone. Because if you've never actually opened up and had that conversation and said, no, this is what I'm doing because this is how I actually feel. And of course, they're going to be polite and say, oh no, but you shouldn't do it. But they might just be being polite. Remember, everyone wants to be liked. Everyone wants to be liked, like everyone wants to be a part of something. And this then brings me into the fact why people offer people food. And Italian background, you go anywhere and you need to eat when you go there, otherwise they haven't been a good host. Really, it's for them. It's not about you, it's not about me, it's really you're a good host if you feed them and you leave out feeling full and satisfied. So we have to consider there that they just want you to be a part of something. It could be in the office. Have this. And like I said, there's two options here. You can plan it in because there's a lot of psychosocial benefits of it. When I go to work on these days, I have this. This is just what I do. On the other days, I bring this instead. And actually, if you keep doing it and people start seeing the changes you're doing, guess what happens then? People start to ask you, oh, what are you doing, by the way? What's that you've got there? I get it though. Sometimes it will catch you off guard and you're like, oh, and it's like 1 minute of like, I don't really want one, but I'm just having one. If you actually think about it, I'm just having one to please someone for like the sake of 30 seconds of going, I'm okay, thank you. And when it comes to this, we've got to consider that it's probably 1 minute of saying, I don't want that, versus potentially a day of someone beating themselves up. And like I said yesterday, if every time you self-sabotage, you then beat yourself up for a whole day, that's literally half of your life beating yourself up. Now, of course, we've got to tackle that situation as well. And why you're beating yourself up. Have you got the facts about hot cross buns right, as I talked about at the start? And that's something that we have to get right to clarify and really challenge these beliefs that have been wrongly embedded in us around food. But what you can do sometimes if someone offers you something and you're literally like, I just don't want it, is because really they just care and they probably just want to get you something. This is one of the reasons. So you could just say, I really fancy a coffee, or I'm really thirsty. You couldn't get me a coffee instead, could you? I really fancy a coffee. And someone will probably just go, if you say it like that, will probably just go, yeah, that's fine, I'll get you a coffee. That's fine. And sometimes it is as simple as that. And if you're making, we live our lives saying that we're different in this, we just be ourselves. But then when it comes to food, we just do things to impress others, essentially. It's an interesting one, and I think we should be more aware of what we're at with that, because if that impacts how we feel, our energy levels, our body, our health, and then how we feel again, and like I said about how long you beat yourself up for, that could be a big thing in terms of your overall well-being and, unfortunately, self-worth as well. And it can get quite deep here, and as you can tell, that when you kind of bridge together our relationship with food and our happiness, they're very interlinked, and it's shown with the research in that people who have maybe binge eating disorders or anything like that normally have, not normally, but sometimes will have another psychological disorder as well that bridges that as well. So just to recap on that, number one, get the facts right first. It might be that they haven't sabotaged you. Our beliefs about food mean that you have. AKA, a hot cross bun is only 150 calories. A brown seeded wholemeal bun is 200. So it's about thinking about, have my thoughts about the thing impacted it, or is it the thing itself? Is it my thoughts about the thing or the thing itself? Plan them in when you can. There's psychosocial benefits of just going, you know what, I'm just going to enjoy this today. I'm going to have it on these days. And guess what? It'll probably mean you stick to it for longer. But at the same time, if your goal is like really strict at the moment and you have a really strict goal and you're dead set on achieving that, don't think you have to do that just because someone else is working for someone else. And don't think you're taking it too far. If you've got a set goal, you want to fit into a dress for this wedding, whatever it is, for the summer, and someone else says, yeah, but you shouldn't do that. That's like, remember, on them, it might just be a reflection on them. They're maybe jealous of what you're doing because you're showing so much discipline. Remember, it brings out what we see in other people. Our opinion is sometimes a reflection of us. So if you see someone else being really disciplined and motivated, it can sometimes trigger people or trigger us because we're not doing that, because it's a reflection on us. Likewise, if you're being really disciplined and motivated and someone sees that, they might feel really bad. They go, oh, you shouldn't do that. That's too much. You shouldn't do that. Yeah, I read it in the paper. Michael Mosley said, or whatever. So that's an important thing to consider where someone else is coming at. And it brings me back to everyone else is doing their best for them. If they offer you food, drink, wine, they're just doing it because they want you to be a part of it. And we want to be a part of it too, of course. So then it's a case of choosing which situations you're going to enjoy, but at the same time having a conversation with them. Or even if you want the quick one, is just saying, yeah, I'm really actually thirsty, can you get me a coffee? I'm really actually thirsty, can you get me this drink here? Just get them to do something for you. So, any questions on that, let me know. That was a massive tangent. Don't even know if I covered the question. But anyway, hot cross buns, that's all you need to remember. And I will see you soon. Our next Kickstart program starts on Monday. So if you want more information about that, let us know. We are outside again from the 29th, back open inside our private studios in Marlborough and Devizes from the 12th of April. So I'll see you soon. Take care, make it a great day, and speak soon.